Welcome in, everybody. We have a critical update to the 9-year-old missing Melodee Buzzard. As fear spreads, her mom's been arrested on an unrelated charge, which we talked about a couple days ago. But some new evidence narrowing in the timeline has just come forward, and it's critical, hopefully helping law enforcement locate where her mother dropped her off. If you don't know about this case, keep listening because mom was wearing wigs, Melodee was wearing wigs. She took her on a road trip across the country from California and returned without her, changing license plates off the car, the rental car. And now new evidence has come forward that will help us identify, or help the police, let's hope, identify what could have possibly happened to her and where, more importantly, could mom have left her. Let's listen in to Court TV's reporting, and then we have another reporting of the most interesting part of this update. So stay tuned to the end.
We're doing multiple searches, and then we're utilizing our partners at the FBI that have some really, great equipment, training, experience, people, all of those things. We're coming at this investigation with from every angle and with everything that we have access to. We have not been able to locate the child as of yet.
Detectives in the ongoing search for missing at-risk child Melodee Buzzard are now sharing surveillance footage of the 9-year-old with her mom. Take a look at this. Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office releasing a portion of the video footage that was taken on October 7th in that rental car business. And you can see Ashley Buzzard and Melodee, they're both wearing wigs. This was right before they took that cross-country trip. Investigators also believe that Ashley swapped out wigs throughout the trip to intentionally avoid recognition during her travel. Throughout the investigation, detectives have confirmed the following: that Ashley left California with Melodee on the 7th, driving a rented white 2024 Chevy Malibu that initially had a California tag on it. Detectives believe that Ashley and Melodee traveled as far as Nebraska with a return route that included Kansas.
Now listen, Nebraska is, to my just awareness, recent awareness, I guess, if you will, is the hub for trafficking children. If you're new here, I did a reading, and if you haven't followed this case with me, go check the reading out. I'm going to do a second reading likely later this week because I picked up on mom trafficking her, and I'd love to believe that I was wrong. I'd love to think I was wrong. But when you look at all the evidence surrounding this case, mom had mental health issues. She had distanced Melodee from Melodee's father's side of the family because regrettably Melodee's father was killed in a car accident when she was just a baby. And so again, we see these commonalities, these kids that are distanced from their families before they go missing. It's curious. It's really curious. Let's continue to listen in.
Beginning on October 8th, a Malibu was seen with a New York license plate. Detectives believe this was a false plate deliberately switched out to avoid detection. Then on the 9th, Melodee was last seen on video surveillance between the Colorado-Utah border. So are detectives getting closer to finding Melodee? Let's talk about it. I'm going to bring in two of the best investigators I know. Retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer and private investigator Manuel Gomez. Both of you have been on this case since the news broke. Thank you so much for joining us with this update with the footage. So we saw the still photos for a while. Those have been circulating. And then last night there was a decision to show some video. Agent Coffindaffer, would you start us off with your thoughts this morning on the investigation?
Well, certainly when you look at this, you see the premeditation involved. This wasn't a situation that something happened and all of a sudden she decided to take this trip. Just those New York license or the New York license plate that was used. You can order them on eBay. You can order them on Amazon. It's about $30.
I mean, why can you order license plates on eBay and Amazon? That should just be illegal. Just my thoughts, just my 2 cents.
For an old plate. And so I believe she would have premeditated this action and known she was going to want to cover her tracks, if you will. Also, those wigs, it definitely shows criminal activity afoot.
Yes, Jen. Manuel, let me go to you next, please. So seeing the video, tell us this morning what you're picking up on, any additional thoughts, seeing a little bit more information on that day that mom rented that car to take her daughter, God knows where.
Well, it's like Jennifer said, and I agree with her 100%. The premeditation in this case is rock solid. This mother premeditatedly knew that she was going to take this child to an area that it was easy to get rid of. And you got to remember, Julie, this journey to this Nebraska and Utah, she had to go through a desert. She had to go through mountainous terrain, densely wooded forest. There's so many areas she could have dropped this innocent child off at. But what bothers me the most, Julie, is, again, like you and I have been saying, why isn't she arrested? This is a rock solid case for.
Okay, so since this recording, mom has been arrested, but on unrelated charges. And I suspect the unrelated charges are actually of withholding somebody and not allowing them to leave freely from her control, I would guess. But they are unrelated. But I've heard other officials say what I suspect is just grasping at anything they can to hold her, to get her to try to reveal what she's done with 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard, her daughter.
Child endangerment and a rock solid case for child neglect. This mother has called the bluff of all law enforcement. She has stayed quiet, Julie, and she will not speak. The only way this woman's going to speak is when she's in an orange jumpsuit and she has no freedom. Then you will loosen her tongue when a judge says you're going to be in contempt of court if you don't speak.
I couldn't agree with you more, Manuel. Thank you for that. So Melodee's grandmother, Ashley's mother, is speaking out. She did an interview with KSBY reporter Crystal Bermudez. Here's what she had to say about the 9-year-old's disappearance in those surveillance photos and possible familiar faces along Ashley's route of travel.
So this is Ashley's grandmother, who hasn't seen her for years, since she was a baby, because I believe this is the mother of Ashley's father, who was in a car accident and passed away when she was a baby. It's very sad.
What were your first thoughts when you saw this image?
I was totally numb and in shock. This is just so shocking to me, and that my granddaughter is dressed in a disguise. This is just so overwhelming. It's just so really scary.
You're saying that her father's family, his people,
And my family.
and your family are along those routes.
Utah.
Utah.
Yeah, Utah. When you start getting past Utah coming back, that's when you're running into his friends. You need to tell them where the baby is. You need to tell them who's setting all these things up for you. I know you're not doing it.
According to investigators, the Malibu was driven by Ashley Buzzard and traveled through these areas. Here's the map. This is on or about October the 9th. They went through Green River, Utah, Panguitch, Utah, Northwest Arizona, Primm, Nevada, Rancho Cucamonga, California. And then when mom came home, she came home without Melodee and then would not answer any questions as to where her daughter is. Now, based on grandma's emotional plea, we're wondering, should mom be the only person of interest here? As grandma talked about, there are other relatives in the area along the way. Should Melodee's mom be the only person investigators are focusing on?
What do you all think with this case so far? We've covered it a bit on this channel. What do you think's happened to Melodee? I know Bullhorn Betty has probably investigated more deeply than I have in this case, and she really thinks that mom is trying to protect Melodee. What do you believe is going on here? Give me your thoughts below.
Jen, what do you say?
Well, I say that the mom should be the character they're focusing on. This is her plan. This is what she decided to do with Melodee. And thankfully, there's a GPS on that 2024 and keystroke. Also, those are going to be important for when that car was turned on and off, and to show the time frames and how long possibly that car was sitting still. But in terms of her actually going to a relative or friend of this family and dropping her off, it's possible. I don't think it's probable. And it's also possible that that person would unwittingly not even know about this. I mean, let's be fair. There are so many crimes that happen that if you're not a junkie of true crime or a newsie, you're not going to know about. Do I think this is a probable scenario? I do not. I don't think she would ever get Melodee out from underneath her thumb and control.
Right, Jen, right. And you would think any of those relatives who loves the child would speak up now that this is gone.
Yeah, because mom has kept her from everybody for most of her life, except at least on her dad's side of the family. Interesting. So I can see what Jen's saying. You would return home without her means that you're relinquishing her into someone else's control, which sounds counterintuitive to what the mother's behavior has been like. And let's not forget, mom has mental health issues. Let's keep
national, and that they would say, oh, come on, we have the girl. Yeah, this is so bizarre to me. All the stops, Manuel, let me ask you about that. Initially, we knew there was a trip to Nebraska. And so initially we were talking so much about that. I know you both remember the conversations. Now we've got all these other places. Why? Manuel, your best educated guess.
Well, I think she was using all these other places as a way of distracting, throwing off law enforcement. That was the purpose of the wigs, going to these different locations so you didn't know which spot she might have dropped off at. But you got to remember two things, Julie, and that is Utah and Nebraska. And these are the two main locations she was at, have an infamous problem for sex trafficking. Okay, in 2015, they had to set up a sex trafficking task force just in Nebraska to deal with their problems. Again, these two locations are ideal. And unfortunately, every day we wait, every second that goes by, the chances of us finding her alive are going to be that much more smaller. To be honest with you, if she is sex trafficked, I guarantee she'll be dead in maybe 2 years, because that's usually the life expectancy of kids like this.
That is horrible. That is absolutely horrible. It's what I also feel. I'm not sure it was sex trades, but definitely a working trade of some sorts is what I picked up in my first and only reading. And like I said, I'm going to do one likely later this week, another one, and see if there's anything else I can pick up on this case. But God hoping that this little girl is found and she's alive before I get to that.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong.
Right. No, I know you do, Manuel. I know you do. Yeah, that was my initial thought. As soon as I heard that mom took her to Nebraska, that was just what came into my mind, that, oh my God, I hope that she wasn't sold. Jen Coffindaffer, what do you say about that potential theory?
I don't think that happened to her, but let me say why. I think this is a woman, at least according to all reports from family and from her own mother, that's very intricate. This is a woman with serious mental health issues. And I think the triggering of the financial problem she was having, she was more than $23,000 in debt, as well as the worry that law enforcement or CPS was going to come take Melodee, cause some sort of mental break, and she took off with that child. And I do agree with Manuel, though, as the minutes tick by, I think there's less and less chance we're going to find her alive.
I know, it's so awful. I hope they arrest this mom soon. Like, something's got to happen.
I guess I'm curious to see what Jennifer would think did with her with all the financial stress. But let's listen to one more report, which has really been kept quiet, but is fascinating because they may be able to narrow down more specifically where she was left. Watch this. This reporting is brought to you from Criminally Obsessed. And yes, they have some very interesting reporting on something new.
We have late breaking news in the disappearance of Melodee Buzzard. Her mother, 40-year-old Ashley Buzzard, was just arrested, but it's on an unrelated charge. She's charged with felony false imprisonment. Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office says she prevented someone from leaving a location against their will, but it's not connected to the search for Melodee. She's being held on a $100,000 bond. That brings us to Melodee. We have new developments to share with you right now.
As soon as he showed me the picture of a lady in her wig, I was like, oh, hey, I do remember that.
Criminally Obsessed spoke with a witness who says she saw Ashley Buzzard in Utah without her daughter, but with another woman who had purple hair. Ashley's the mom to this adorable little girl, 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard, and she's been missing for almost a month. We need to find Melodee. Every new detail in this case just gets stranger.
So somebody saw her with Melodee's mother, without Melodee, but with a woman with purple hair. So now we have an account of Melodee's mother without Melodee, but with some other adult in purple hair. We're getting narrower and narrower, and hopefully the police are narrowing in where they're going to be able to locate Melodee Buzzard.
I'm Ann Emerson. I'm an investigative reporter, and I've been covering cases like this one for 30 years. Today, we've got two major developments, that sighting in Utah and a 1995 newspaper article that may change how we see everything now.
Yes, this is absolutely fascinating and worthy of a reading. Keep listening to the end because it's going to rock you. It's going to be very interesting to hear.
But first, let's talk about this latest lead. Detectives say Ashley left California with Melodee on October 7th. They rented a white Chevy Malibu. Here they are at the rental counter, both wearing wigs. During the trip, Ashley switched out her wigs and license plates, and police believe that this was intentional to avoid being recognized. By October 9th, investigators tracked her through license plate readers and cell tower data right to the Colorado-Utah border. Reporter Samantha Huffman stopped at the Phillips 66 gas station in Junction, Utah. Here's what one employee told her when the FBI came looking.
It was really, really freaking weird because she just like opened the door at the store and like halfway poked her head in, and then she said, "Did you guys know you have a whole bunch of kittens out here?" And I was kind of surprised, and I said, "Yeah, we have a whole bunch of little feral kittens." And she said, "Okay." And then she turned around and got back in the car with the lady with the purple hair. And I was actually on the phone with my husband at the time, and I remember saying, "These two really weird ladies just came in and made a comment about the cats." And that is like the majority of what I remember right there.
Do you have
So it doesn't sound like a mom. This mom is, if she's done something to her daughter, it sounds like she's asking about, do you know about the feral cats? I mean, that's something I would do. I'm not a crazy cat lady, but I love all animals and I'd want to know they were being cared for and being fed. And so it doesn't sound like a mother that would harm her child, does it? Does it to you? I don't know. It grows, it gives legs to another theory here, and perhaps Bullhorn's Betty's assessment. Just keep listening though. It's very interesting.
any sort of estimate on how old the woman with the purple hair was? Like whether that was someone younger or older?
She had to be probably late 20s to mid 30s, would be my guess.
Okay. And did you
It was
see
another adult woman.
Okay. And did you see any signs of a child or no?
No, there's nobody else in the car that I could see.
It doesn't sound like that second woman was Melodee in a purple wig. Likely someone else entirely. What we do know is that Ashley returned the rental car to Lompoc, California on October 10th, alone. She'd been to 5 different states. On October 14th, school officials called police for a welfare check. And deputies showed up, but Melodee was not there, and Ashley refused to say where she was. She's refused to cooperate ever since. I had to go down the rabbit hole, and it took a haunting turn when I dug up this 30-year-old newspaper article and realized we've seen this before. In 1995, Ashley Buzzard herself was the 9-year-old little girl taken from her home. Back then, she and her mother, Lori Miranda, fled their California home to escape Ashley's abusive father. I've tried to reach out to Lori Miranda several times. I have not been able to reach her yet for comment. The article from the Santa Maria Times described how terrified they were. Lori said she had to run to protect her daughter from violence. Now, decades later, Ashley's the mother, and she's not talking. Is this a tragic cycle of trauma repeating itself, or something much darker?
What are the odds? I mean, this is giving me Sebastian vibes. What are the odds that mom here in this photo wearing a wig, being seen at the car rental agency with Ashley wearing a wig, her 9-year-old daughter, returns home without her? The same thing that happened to her when she was also 9. What are the chances? I'm starting to wonder with her mental health if this is literally a traumatic episode and I don't know. I mean, it's so perplexing. But then you have the woman with the purple hair. Did she sell her? Did she leave her with family or friends? I mean, the whole thing is wild. Listen up to the end here.
The only other explanation would be a psychotic break that came from, just her daughter being 9 and needing protection. And if she's already predisposed to some of this manner of thinking that is way outside of the box of reality, mother will do what it takes to protect her.
Jay White says severe trauma can rewire the way people respond to fear, convincing them that they are protecting their child by running. But here's what's confusing everyone. Ashley's not a suspect. She's not even a person of interest. And yet, her daughter has been missing for a month. Police know that she tried to disguise her appearance and alter the vehicle. So why isn't she in custody? I asked criminal defense attorney Jackie Goodman to explain.
It's important to make sure that they understand what crime was committed and then charge it accordingly. And during this time, there's these countervailing interests. There's an interest in finding this child, and that's not a small interest. If the child is at risk or, God forbid, if the child is in danger of death and and still alive, they want to find that child quite quickly. And by effectuating an arrest and a charging, you know that there's no chance that, at least very little to no chance, that that mother is going to be speaking. But to the extent
she's already not speaking. So yeah, I see that. She's already not speaking, but they also don't have a lot to lose. But I get and understand that she's not speaking. They're hoping to arrest her on an unrelated charge to hope to, threaten her in such a way that will force her to speak. And what I don't understand, with Bullhorn Reddy's theory is she is protecting Melodee. Why wouldn't she just come clean with the police?
that she's not charged, they have at least some hope of getting some information out of the mother.
We're dealing with a mother who once fled violence to protect her own daughter. Now that daughter could be hiding her own child. It's a psychological loop that investigators and all of us need to pay attention to.
We'd like to encourage anybody who has information about Ashley and Melodee's trip, especially specifically that investigative focus from the 9th to the 10th, to please reach out. Additionally, anybody who knows where Melodee is now, please reach out, let us know. Our goal in this is to make sure that Melodee is safe.
If you've seen Melodee Buzzard or know anything about where she might be, please call the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Office. And follow me, Ann Emerson, for continuing coverage as we dig deeper into this story. Let's keep Melodee's name out there, because somewhere this little girl needs to be found.
No kidding. What do y'all think? What are the crazy chances that Melodee's mother also was taken at 9 years old, the exact age of Melodee Buzzard? Tell me what your thoughts are below. Thank you for being here. Do all the YouTubey things. Love and light.